meeting of the Grafton Cable Oversight Committee for Wednesday, April 20th to order, and we'll do a roll call. Bob Berger.
Bob Berger here.
Bob Berger is here. Bob DeToma.
Here.
Bob DeToma is here. Jim Gallagher is here. Bob Hassinger. All right, I see him waving, but he's still muted, but he is here.
He's working on his microphone.
Jack Kelly is Bob.
I'm
Jack
here.
Kelly is here. Lisa Kelly is ill, and Corson Wyman is here.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us this evening. Bob, do we have anyone else on for public input? Nope. All right. So we'll move right to the treasurer's report. And Bob Berger, I imagine you're going to need to cut out to get to the FinCom meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, at 7:30.
Okay, so why don't you do all of the segments you have to do now?
Okay. Just gonna share my screen. I'm not the host, right, Bob? Okay. All right. So everybody got how to read the revenue and expense report. Line 2, we got an additional payment. That's why this number is up. Then you go down to the bottom, and if you notice, we're at 67%, 110%, 17.83%, and 8% for that. But if you look at last month, one of these numbers was different, and it's because there was a correction on payroll. They applied the payroll to the wrong account, and that's why your purchase of services was 120% over, or 120% using that line, and now it's down to 110%. I don't know if any of you caught that, but I just wanted to bring your attention to that, because there's a difference and it went down, and that's why it went down. So we have spent a total of $111,162.90. And given that, our total available funds to date is $843,869.69. That's with the contribution. And then you go down to this other section, which is the $3,000 that we get from our fund from the town. And that is just showing what we've expended out of that account. And with that, if there are any questions, because I'm kind of going through it fast, because it's real easy to read the report now. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer your questions.
Are there any questions on the floor? Okay, I'm going to move along just a bit here, and I'm going to go to my items not reasonably anticipated. But while both of the Bobs are here, do one or both of you want to comment at all about what's going on with the Verizon contract?
Bob, you can comment on that.
So as you may be aware, we got an email from Bill August to let us know that the window to begin the next round of negotiations with Verizon is now open. And he asked that Mr. Berger and I meet with him to go over an ascertainment and a proposed budget, which we can show to Verizon, which Bill believes is the first step in the informal process.
Jack,
I did, and Mr. Chair, I did speak to Bill last night, and we had a fast discussion on, I'm going to be building a report for Verizon on where our capital items are going to be anticipated to go in the next 5 years. I will bring that to this committee for review, and I will be using the document we used 5 years ago and just update it. That way, it seems like it's going to be a living document. We can take things off that we achieved, and when we want to add different things, we'll put them on that document. That way we keep a running total of, the activities and the expenditures of our studios.
Okay, before we go any further, I just, for the record, want to say that Lisa Kelly has joined, and we hope you're feeling a little bit better. Maybe a little bit better. That's good. So Lisa Kelly is with us. Bob DeToma, did you have anything to add?
No, that pretty much sums it up.
Very good. I think Jack had his hands up first. Jack?
My only thing I was going to say that my mother was trying to get in.
Oh, okay. All right, Corson, you're next.
Yeah, with some of the new negotiations and so forth, is there, we always try to stay ahead of the curve at all possible. We talk about the availability of having high definition channels and so forth. And we were migrating from standard definition to high definition and trying to acquire that. And I think we had one high definition one at one point, and whether that's going to expand to the 3 high definition channels or the next stage going to 4K or something like that. Do we see any progression now that it's another 5 years?
We don't know because we haven't even started any negotiating yet.
Okay, Bob Hassinger.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts come to mind. First of all, do we have a similar document from the licensing we just finished?
Yes.
And you didn't mention it, but I would think that would be an important input. Want to be sure that we include everything we can on closed captioning, full, real high definition, all 3 channels. Also. Okay.
Was that both of them, Tom? Both of those things, Bob? You said you had a couple of
That's all
thoughts.
I've got right now.
Okay, very good.
Aside from my salary.
Great. Bob Berger, we have a quorum, so at any time you feel as if you have to drop off, just go ahead and drop off, all right?
Yeah, I'm looking for the email from Sue right now. And while, Jim, while I have the floor, Mr. Chair, while I have the floor, can I talk about town meeting and hiring an interpreter?
Sure.
Okay. So I have reached out to Boston, and I put our name on the list to get a sign language interpreter to come in. And we can't just have one, we have to have 2 because of the duration of town meeting. And it's kind of disappointing that you put your name on the list and they don't tell you that you have one for the date of the meeting. You're going to know within 2 days of your event if they fulfilled your request. So we're going to plan on, we are going to have somebody there. We're going to plan on a 2 shoot for town meeting, 1 dedicated just for the signer and 1 dedicated for the entire town meeting. And if everything goes well, we'll have somebody standing on the X. If it doesn't work, then all we can say to the public is we did our best and we'll try to do better. But it's out of our hands right now. I put the request in.
Now, who's this? Who are you talking about in Boston?
The department, I don't have their entire name, but
Okay.
it's in, the Commonwealth.
All right, the reason I ask is that when I was a supervisor a million years ago in Social Security, and we were very fortunate in that there was a group in Framingham that was available, and they were able to help us out like almost on a last minute notification. And for the life of me, I can't think of the name of what they were, but I would think if you Googled sign language Framingham, Mass, that might pop up, but just to tuck in the back of your head.
Right. And I did talk to my contact in Boston and I said, well, am I supposed to go private? They said, no, that's our job. We will start reaching out to all the different agencies. So,
Okay.
and if I hire a private agency and they also hire another private agency, now I'm going to have too many people.
Yeah.
So
All right.
it's like, you know what? I did my best
Okay, Bob.
and I think it's going to work.
Very good. Bob Hassinger.
Yeah, Is this supposed to be coming out of our money, cable
No.
money?
No, no,
Oh.
I'm doing this. I was just informing this group because I'm doing it out of my duties of ADA coordinator.
Ah, but it's somebody else's budget.
It's coming out of the town's budget.
Well, any idea how much money you're talking about? How many?
I
digits-
do know how much money I'm talking about. It's
Hmm.
for one person, it's $200 an hour, but we need two people, so it's $400 an hour.
Going to be expensive. I'm curious, this meeting's being held in the high school auditorium.
It is.
True.
It is.
How are you going to switch or somehow include the interpreter? Or are they going to be
They're going to be on stage, Bob, right next to the moderator.
yeah, but what happens when it's not the moderator speaking?
They're
It's
gonna stand right next to the moderator, and they're going to
And-
interpret the best that they can.
Yeah,
And if
well-
there's somebody in the audience that's speaking, if they can hear them, then they're going to interpret that.
Yeah, but are you going to have the camera pointed at the interpreter instead of at the person in the audience?
Well, Bob, I said we're having two cameras.
Yes.
One, let's wait, one's gonna be concentrated solely on the interpreter.
I understand that, Bob. I'm asking you, how are you going to switch that?
I'm not going to.
Could do in post.
Yeah, you're gonna do it. Well, they're not gonna do posts. You're gonna be, well, this is up to Bob and his crew, which includes Jack. Could be a window.
Let me, if I can, Jack's had his hand up. I think that's what he's probably going to address. Is that right?
No, well, I didn't have my hand up, but yeah, that'd be something we do.
Oh, you know what? I had my cursor over your box. I thought that was your hand. Sorry.
I still want to hear him.
Yeah, we're just
Go ahead,
gonna,
Jack.
we're gonna do it in post-production. We'll put the constant camera on the interpreter probably in one of the corners, so it's constantly playing, even if they're not on screen. Sync it up, all that good stuff.
What I was talking about was the live feed.
The live feed, the interpreter is there for the public, for the people in the building live. We'll add it on for future watches.
Okay.
Is it not possible to do it live instead of post?
Gentlemen, I have to go. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Unless we were able to bring a switchboard down there, no.
No.
Jack, can I ask you what happens if like someone down in the audience speaks Swahili? Do we have a means of having an interpreter to interpret to English so that she can sign? Do we have that? Does that ever come up?
It wouldn't do much good to speak that way at town meeting because nobody else knows.
Yeah, I don't think we have any. Our job is to record town meeting. I think
Okay.
that's our scope.
Okay, I was just curious, just popped into my head.
But-
Popped in.
It's more work than is going to happen here, but I think I know a way that you could switch it or have a chance to switch it. But it's much more complicated than just something we're going to whip up right between now.
I'm sure that if Jack and Bob have any problems, I'm sure they can come to you. I'm gonna press on. Has everyone had a chance to read the minutes of the March 21st meeting?
Yes. I make a motion, we accept the minutes from March 21st, 2022.
Is that
Is there a second? Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, was that as drafted?
Yes.
Why, how is it that they're always a draft when they come to us?
Yes, but you don't necessarily approve that. That's a starting point. It's a old custom. Because sometimes you amend or you alter it before you.
Right, and then that would change that during the discussion. So are there any other comments on the minutes? All right, So let's do a roll call. Bob Berger has had to leave to go to his other meeting. Bob DeToma?
Aye.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher is aye. Bob Hassinger
Aye.
is aye. Jack Kelly?
Aye.
Jack Kelly is aye. Lisa Kelly?
Aye.
Lisa Kelly is aye, and Corson Wyman?
Aye.
Corson Wyman is aye. So the minutes that were once a draft are now full-fledged. So as we press forward, Bob, you've got a little bit going on here, server issues, and then, well, it looks like the commissioner jumped in on you on the town meeting with the sign language interpreter. So did you have anything else you were going to add on that one?
Nothing to add to town meeting.
Okay, so can you just talk about the coverage of all of the equipment? I know that there was a question last month that came up as to whether or not all of our equipment we had coverage on, and you weren't here, and I suggested that I'm sure that you do, but I said that I would put it on the agenda. That's the only reason it's on here.
Okay, so having reviewed the recording from last month that I didn't attend, when we purchased the Tightrope system back in 2017, think of it as a motor vehicle that you drove off the lot from the dealership. It came off the lot with a warranty in place. At the time of the purchase, Mr. Silverman was the chair of the cable committee, and the corporation or the company that did the work was DNR Dog November Romeo. They no longer exist. The equipment would have come into our possession with a 3-year warranty. A 2-year add-on warranty was available at the time. I can only assume that that was the procedure that we took back in 2017, because as of March, April 2022, said warranty has expired. That warranty covers hardware in the system in the rack. We currently, by the use of the support team in Minnesota, are covered for software. Any issues, any glitches, any little quirks, they will walk me through most of the simple stuff by purely logging into the system, and it's a pretty quick fix. So the equipment as it stands now in the rack is out of warranty. Having said that, when we pursue the new system beginning fiscal year 23, and if you all recall, the new system gives us the capability to do the closed captioning. That new system will be light years ahead of the existing system. One of the things that the new system will do is some of the equipment now that could potentially fail, as the one piece that we replaced, any of those pieces that fail, many of the components are built into the new system. So we only have to get through the next, let's say, 6 months. If we get the new system up and running in that time, anything that happens in that period, it's a very short window. So we didn't have a contract that needed to be renewed. We didn't have a warranty that was offered and ignored. It was 5 years, and the 5 years has expired. I confirmed all of this by speaking with my trusted advisor, Danielle DeLucia, who confirmed that that's standard operating procedure for Tightrope. Are there any questions on that?
Nope. Okay, you want to go on to the producer course?
Jim, did we vote to spend money to buy what Bob is talking about, or is that still something to be done?
Well, that was done last month.
Did we? Okay. How much money did we vote?
I don't recall. I'd have to look.
All right.
4,400, no, wait a minute.
That sounds right.
Yeah, for $4,405.
And that's for the streaming server that failed.
So you were so concerned about the minutes. That was what was right in there. The hell are you reading?
Yeah, well, you don't expect me to remember that long, do you, Jim?
I'm still trying to deal with the fact that Corson still has Q-tips sticking in his ear from when he took a shower. Hey?
The thing is that the $4,000 or $5,000 doesn't sound right for what Bob just described as a whole system that's light years ahead.
Because it's not. He's talking about just
And
the
so
screen.
that's why I'm puzzled, besides not being able to remember.
That number is just including the streaming, the piece of hardware that will allow the public channel to stream again.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked. And I don't know where we are now. Because if we haven't placed an order, we're not 6 months from light years ahead system and coverage. So I'm just confused. Nothing new.
So the new
Well,
server.
you're on that, right, Bob?
Hmm?
You're on that, right?
The new server will be installed tomorrow. Support will be on the phone with me all morning long to bring it up online. And that is just for the streaming service. And then assuming fiscal 23, July 1st, we vote to move forward and purchase the system that's capable of doing the closed captioning, known as the VIO 4. I'm assured by Danielle that we can get it into the house probably within 6 weeks, and then however long it takes to get it up and running.
Okay, that was what I was asking. We haven't voted the money yet.
Not on the
So
main system, no.
So it's the base isn't covered. Not that I'm saying whether it should be or not, but I just really confusing around here, you know?
Well, I would think that the bases are covered. It's just that we're a little ahead of the tribe here. Well, it sounds like everybody's all set to do what they need to do. Am I wrong, Bob?
Right now, I'm sorry, which
gotta-
Bob are you addressing?
I'm sorry, Bob DeToma.
So the system, like I said, Friday is the first step. They will walk me through any support I need beyond that I can get from Danielle. And then like I said, we just have to make it through to the beginning of fiscal 23. So it's a pretty brief amount of time. And then we will bring the contract and the proposal to the committee, and the committee will vote on it. I'm not sure what else you need to hear.
All right, that's what I'm trying to get, is that we don't have anything in place at this point, and nothing is moving forward yet on getting this advanced, the new system that you're talking about. I want to be clear about how far along we are.
We can't do anything until fiscal 23 gets here July 1. So
We couldn't vote to spend money as of some time or other.
I'll get the specs. I'll get the specs from Danielle and from Tightrope, and then maybe I'll have something for the next meeting.
Okay. All right, you want to talk about the producer course?
Before I do that, did you want to talk about the audio issues that Mr. Berger raised last month?
All right, I thought that was town meeting.
Not necessarily.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the agenda.
All right, I
Just
took
jump
notes
in. Go
when
ahead.
I took notes when I watched the recording, so I had things prepared to talk about. So Mr. Berger mentioned that there were some audio issues that he brought to the committee last month. And he called in an audio engineer by the name of Joe Patton of Odd Deer Design. Joe Patton was the gentleman who did the device in the booth in conference room A. Help me out, Jack. What's the name of that box?
Which box?
The one with the audio controls. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, so the audio engineer, the gentleman who did the audio for us in room A, he came in at Bob Berger's request and he checked out.
Restaurant.
Thank you, question. So he came into the main studio at 26 Providence Road, and looked at the rack, and with me assisting him, we made adjustments to some of the equipment in the rack in real time so that we could hear the final output in the control booth at the main studio. One of the things that he found was there's a piece of equipment in the rack which is called a Aphex Compeller 320D. And this provides broadcast pre-processing, but it also gives us the ability to affect the strength of the audio that goes up the hill to Charter and then out to the world. So through a couple of different steps, the first thing he did was he made the adjustments to the compeller in real time, as I said, and then we checked it out through the return feed in the main booth. We also went in, he said, how do you process video when you bring it in on a daily basis? So we took him through the steps, we go into Adobe Premiere, we import whatever video we ourselves record in the conference rooms or in the main studio, and also how we import video when we bring it in from PEG Media, the bicycle programs. So he showed us that there was a processing step in Adobe Premiere that we have been applying to all of the government programming that comes in and all the other programs that we're adding in now. And basically, it's called a dynamics processor. So we go into Adobe Premiere, we import the video, and we go and check our video first, which is something that we always do. Check the video for every government meeting we do. Some people talk quietly, some people talk quite loudly, some people lean forward, some people lean back. We never know what we're going to get, so we have to kind of look at it and try to adjust to find a happy medium. Joe showed us that by using the dynamics processor, we can go in, and the first thing we can do is we can adjust the audio to a level that we think is the best for that recording. And then if 2 hours into the meeting, somebody jumps up and screams at the top of their lungs, by using the dynamic processor, it keeps the audio level from peaking into the red. It just kind of doesn't squash it, it doesn't quiet it, it just keeps it from jumping up out of control. So we've been applying that to all of the meetings. Now, Mr. Berger talked about programming that might be deleted from the system. We have not deleted any government meetings from the system because of audio issues. We are bringing in new equipment, we're bringing in new programs from the bicycle program. We check them for audio, we run the dynamic processor through them. So far, the steps that we've taken and the adjustments that Joe has made on our equipment seems to have solved most of the problem. Mr. Berger talked about programs that are still in the system that are too loud or come across really, really hot. Do they exist? Yes, of course they do. But until someone says, hey, it was that episode of Ask the Geezers, or it was that episode of the Cable Oversight Committee, until we know specifically which meeting it is that seems to be too hot, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So if somebody had a specific request, we can go in, download the program, make the adjustments, and then load it back in again. Go ahead, Corson.
Yeah, does it have a gain limiter, or is it clip the top of the wave that gets formed?
Not really sure I can answer your question, of course, and all I know is it works. Hey, let's get young Jack Kelly.
The dynamics processing, pretty much it shows you a box and it gives you a line. It has the lowest volume and the lowest audio here, middle audio here, highest audio here, and it gives you a line. Brings up the lows, brings down the highs. So there's no clipping. It'll just pull it down. The worst I've seen.
It's a gain. It controls the gain.
The worst I've seen is sometimes it'll get if someone's really loud for a continuous period of time, it'll kind of get muzzled because it's trying to like force it to stay at a constant level. But I've never actually seen that effect be applied in a government meeting.
And the gain limiters have been on some older equipment for a long time. Radio stations used to use them all the time when they started getting really noisy and rowdy with the music and the disc jockeys. They basically had the gain limiter set, but they had the gain very high, but it was kind of like fighting each other. We're trying to make it loud, but limiting it to a certain point so it doesn't overmodulate.
Yep.
That only happens now in the CPC meetings, so. Yeah.
What was the third topic you wanted me to address, Jim?
The producer course, please.
Thank you.
Ah.
So Jack and I have spoken to a couple of different people, and I have spoken to two Grafton residents. The first person is a retired gentleman by the name of Dan Fitzgerald. And I recently had a conversation with a Grafton resident who's a student at BVT. And her name is Bridget Kaya. And those are the two applicants that I've been speaking to. And I know that Jack has a family, a mother and a son who are actually planning to come into the studio for a tour on Friday, although their names escape me. Jack will tell you who they are. And,
Marcus Smigliani.
Once more, please.
Marcus and Renee Smigliani.
Thank you.
Part of the problem I've been experiencing, and I know Jack had a little bit of problems too, is that it's hard to pin people down to a specific day and time to do anything. And I'm sure Dan was kidding when he spoke to me about the course, but he said, when I asked him what days or evenings he preferred, he said, well, I'm kind of an active guy. I do a lot of things outdoors. I'd like to do it only on rainy days. So,
well, you get the copy of the Old Farmer's Almanac and schedule his classes, will you?
so Bridget has a tour scheduled for Friday with her mother. So she's coming in to tour the studio, and then we can pin her down as to what days and times she can come in for training. And then Dan's going to be a little bit more of a tough nut to try and figure out when and how we can get him into the building. So it's promising. We have 3 people on the hook, and hopefully we can just pull them into the boat. So
Good for you. Bob Hassinger, we haven't heard from you in a while.
Count yourself lucky.
I got to tell you, when you start with your hand up in your head like that, it looks like the beginning of a Karnak answer there. Karnak says.
Hermetically sealed. And
Yeah.
you said girl, age?
she'll be a senior in high school.
Well,
Your guess is as good as mine. 17, 18?
yeah. Well, there used to be rules, and like we had to take a vote or do something if somebody was under an age. I'm remembering a long time back, but maybe Corson remembers us doing that. Maybe not.
Well, I'm sure if it was necessary, we'd know about it now, but that was back in the days of before digitalized TV. And
No,
look at the people who would have been teaching it back then. That would have been a good idea too.
yeah, actually, Danielle might even remember that. It's based on our rule. So our rule would be what would tell us about that. It's been quite a long time since we've been into that, though.
Well, I got to think it's maybe not much of an issue because we've got bus stop weather, and I'm guessing they're not over 18.
No, that's a different case. That's
She's town.
someone coming in and standing in front of a camera. This is someone coming in and becoming an certified access producer, learning all this secret stuff about how to make television.
All right. So anything else, Mr. DeToma?
No, that's all I have at the time on the producer.
Okay, let's move on to the lovely and talented Jack Kelly and talk about what's going on in Access.
All right, in terms of our programming, we have 2 Meet the Candidates to complete. And once those 2 are done, we will have done all of our Meet the Candidates for this season. We had a jazz group come in, and I believe we have set a date and are going to set a time for them to come in and do their first performance. So that should be fun. Like Bob was talking about, we're starting to meet with our producers for the month. And the footage for the fire recruitment video has all been collected. So that video is starting to come together. And that is my Access report. Question, Bob Berger.
Mr. Chair?
Okay, go ahead.
Jack, I'm going to insist when you have that jazz group coming and play,
Mhm.
we got to have good sound. I mean, I keep on hopping on this and I'll never stop. If we're gonna have a live band in there, we've got to figure out how to produce good sound.
We've already got it set up. They're bringing in their own sound equipment, microphones. They're bringing in their own microphones. They're bringing in their own computers. We're going to sync up the audio.
Okay,
They've got it all set up. They're going to pretty much create their home studio in our studio.
well, that's great. That's great.
Good work.
Yep.
And if I could just, before we go to Corson, Bob, let me pass along my congratulations to you on the caliber of programming that we've seen with those Ask the Candidates. I know that I used to do those back when Hector was a pup, and there was no way that I was anywhere near as good as you. So congratulations on doing those. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Corson.
Now, the concerts on the Common, does that start next month in May or is that June?
I believe it's June.
I'm not sure. I
June.
think it's June though. And we will, if they request, and they often do, we will be down there filming.
Okay. Moving along, our next meeting is Monday, May 16th. So you'll still have time after that meeting to get my birthday present. And I don't have anything else that now that we've talked about the contract. So I'll entertain a motion. Let me just ask Bob Berger, how did you make out with the Finance Committee?
Doing great. I gave them an update of what we're anticipating on doing for the next 2 years and they loved it.
How can they not love anything from you, Bob Berger?
I know it. I know it.
I know it. So is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Bob Berger.
Bob Berger, aye.
Bob Berger, aye. Bob DeToma.
Aye.
Bob DeToma, aye. Jim Gallagher is aye. Bob Hassinger
Aye.
is aye. Jack Kelly
Aye.
is aye. Lisa Kelly.
Aye.
Aye, and I hope you feel better. And Corson Wyman with the Q-tips out of his ears
Aye.
is aye. All right. Thanks a lot, folks.